The Amazing Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin, or just Spider-Man, was a game developed by Technopop that came out on multiple Sega consoles back in the early 90s. For this review, we will be focusing on the Sega Genesis version, because, well, frankly, that's all we could afford. The best way to describe this game is that it is a side-scrolling platformer that swings you headfirst into a Marvel comic from the 90s. The game begins with the Kingpin giving a public service announcement to the good people of New York City that the evil Spider-Man has planted a bomb and plans on destroying the city. Seems legit.
Now that the people think that Spidey is a terrorist, he now has to race around town locating keys that are being kept by numerous members of his rogues gallery. In addition to Kingpin, who nowadays is more of a daredevil bad guy, there are appearances from Doc Ock, the Lizard, Electro, Sandman, and oh yeah, can't forget about good old Goblin. You also run into Venom too. The presentation of this game is fantastic. The game is filled with great cutscenes that bring the humor and style of a Spider-Man comic book to life. The quipping is a mainstay of Spider-Man's character, and reading these back and forth between him and the villains are a real treat. Speaking of presentations, at the Game Over screen, if you choose yes, one more time.
Alright. That alone makes this game awesome. What else is pretty awesome are the graphics. The character model of Spider-Man himself and his rogues all look pretty great. They move so fluently. The game treats the source material very well, which is always a big thumbs up from us. The backgrounds are also nicely done, with a variety of different locales, such as warehouses, sewers, cityscapes. The only kind of lacking things are the models for the random thugs. I mean, they're not bad, but they're pretty stock. Okay, so here's the thing about the game. You have to play it like a speedrun. No, really. The game is on a timer, so you've got to get through these stages as fast as you possibly can in order to beat the villains to get the keys that you will need to disarm the bomb. Arbitrary timers like this in games can be very annoying. But here, they managed to work it into the game and actually make it work. It keeps the pressure on the player and cranks up the difficulty because of it. Although, you can go to the options menu and adjust it as you see fit. If you do somehow get a game over, you will restart with a little less time on the clock. And if the clock runs out, you will see the Sega logo again. And you know what that means.
As far as controls go, you have a jump, attack, and you have an item that can help you out. Now, mostly you can use your web that can shoot projectiles. However, remember, this is not the Sam Raimi movies, this is the comic book, so Spider-Man's web fluids are limited. But not to worry, there are some power-ups placed around the levels that can increase your web and health. But you'd have other options as well. You can use your web to create a small shield that can help you in defense for a while, which is really helpful against bosses. The boss fights, by the way, can get rather annoying. For example, Electro's ridiculous spamming. Another fun one is the camera. What? Throwing a camera at someone's face would hurt a lot. Nah, just kidding. If you select it, which you have up to 3, you can take a snapshot, and if you beat the level, you can get extra cash. Really clever. Or if things are looking bad, and you think you won't be able to beat a level, you can choose Peter himself and return to his apartment. There your health will regenerate, and you can attack the level once again.
Other moves at your disposal are wall climbing and web swinging. You know, typical Spider-Man stuff. Which is the only way to travel. They also manage to sneak in the spider sense whenever a big bad shows up. However, one thing we don't particularly care for is when Spider-Man walks, he's a bit too close to the edge of the screen. It's not too bad here, but I mean in other games it is a lot worse. A character should be in the middle of the screen, or more to the back end.
Now I know what you're thinking, because we were thinking the same thing. Can you punch out J. Jonah Jameson? Well, unfortunately no, although believe us, we did try. The music and special effects, while nothing memorable, are able to do an okay job.
The Amazing Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin was a pretty special game for the Sega Genesis. It may not have been an all-time classic on the level of, say, Sonic or Streets of Rage or Golden Axe, but it was a big commercial success that did a noble job bringing Spider-Man to the video game format, containing numerous appearances from characters of the comics, good graphics, adequate controls, and a pretty fun presentation. This game helped open the door for future games featuring our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So yeah, when all is said and done, to my surprise, and probably is, we give this game a high recommendation, so if you can find a copy out there on eBay or something, definitely check it out. You might not be disappointed. As long as you have a Sega Genesis console, which you should totally have, yeah.
Speaking of which, make sure to stay tuned, because coming up very soon is our next episode of Sega Genesis vs. Super Nintendo, featuring Spider-Man video games.
That sounds awesome! Can't wait to see that. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us on the Brotherhood of Gimme Video Game Show. I'm your host, William Morris. That's Eugene Morris. Now, before you go, see that subscribe button down there? You should totally click that. It helps us out, and it's really awesome in here. Trust us, it's cool. And see these things over here? Yeah, there's a Tales of Retrospective, there's speed runs, there's all sorts of really cool stuff. And oh yeah, social media. There's a Twitter up there. There's all this other stuff up there. Yeah, please, do it. Click it. It's awesome in here. Trust us. Please.